Good afternoon to our Broward County students. Good afternoon to our Palm Beach students. And good afternoon to anyone we have from the 305 Miami-Dade. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're going to jump right into this conversation. And I hope everyone, like I said, I hope everyone takes lots and lots of notes. All right. So, again, my name is Tron Lepet, Assistant Director for Enrollment here at Broward College, one of the institutions that partners with Bridge to Life. And before we start talking about the college application process, let me also mention this. If you're looking for some additional tools, especially if you're in Broward County, you have a tool called Naviance. Talk to your brace advisors about that tool. It houses tons and tons of information on college information, college resources, data, statistics, scholarships, which you'll hear more about in a second. All right, so let's jump right into the presentation, shall we? Okay, we shall. Application steps. Apply to college and university. Use your college website. So where do you want to go to school? Which college or university do you want to attend? Is it in state? Is it out of state? If so, the first thing you need to do, of course, and I'm sure many of you have done this, is visit the college website. Visit your college website. My first piece of advice to you is to connect with one of the admissions counselors, admission advisors that work with that college, for that college, should I say. Connect with them one-on-one. They want to hear from you. They need to hear from you. Do not, I repeat, do not be afraid to ask as many questions when it comes to contacting them. Ask as many questions as you can. The more you learn, the more you earn. A really bright individual once said that during one of our meetings here. So start with your college websites, right? Just go to the college website, go to the admissions page, and comb through all of the admission steps. The next piece that I want to talk about, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time on a few of these, the Common App. All right, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the Common App, and take a picture of this. I'm going to come right back to the slide here. Take a picture of this. The Common App is crucial for your learning and for your resources that we have to offer. What is the Common App? Let me come back here. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. I don't want to spook my team for here, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just for a second. And we're going to come right back to the slide. What is the Common App? Well, let's talk about the Common App. Now you guys can see my face in all of its glory. Well, the Common App is simply an undergraduate college admissions application that applicants may use to apply to any of more than 900 members of colleges and universities in 49 states in the District of Columbia, as well as in Canada, China, Japan, and many European countries. Each year, and I want you to grab this, each year, more than 1 million students, that's a third of whom are first generation, apply to college, research financial aid and scholarships, and connect to colleges, college counseling resources through the Common App. All right. There's also a Common App for international students. So just pass the word along, right? This app provides students with a wealth of information and resources, as I mentioned before. Some of those resources are as follows: tips on paying for college, finding your path, your career path, the application guide. So those are some of the steps. And they also help you plan your college pursuit. How are you going to pursue your colleges and what are you going to say? So make sure to visit the College Common App for more information there. Okay. Again, while you're listening, please make sure to take some notes and drop some questions in the chat. We want to hear from you. This is for you. With that being said, I'm going to move right along with the presentation to the next slide, and I'll probably drop in and out from time to time. I hope you guys don't mind, but that kind of keeps things spicy, right? All right, so moving right along to our next slide, or our next piece of information. Naviance, you heard me mention it before. Again, this is for students in Broward County, and I'm sure that the neighboring counties have their own student database or their own student portal. Make sure that you are logging into Naviance when it comes to applying for scholarships. Again, you're going to hear more information about scholarships from our other presenter that's coming on. And I advise everyone to stay on for all of this information. But make sure you're using Naviance. Make sure you're using your student databases. I can't tell you how many thousands upon thousands of scholarships are housed in Naviance. And students all the time say, where do we go find scholarships? Well, use your student databases. Use those databases that the school is in contract with, right? So Naviance will help you when it comes to applying for scholarships. Again, you'll hear more information about scholarships. Let's talk a little bit about college essays, and I want to focus on college essays, the ones that you're sending off to your universities and your colleges. As you can see on the screen, create multiple essays. Speak about different topics. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I really want you to pay attention to what I have to say here. Oftentimes, students spend a great deal of time coming up with new essay after new essay after new essay. And I mean, that's great. But the thing is, you're kind of reinventing the wheel. You don't have to do that. Try to write maybe 3 to 5 essays. Change the verbiage of the essays when it comes to applying to these colleges and universities. Make the work a little bit easier on yourself. The thing is, you want to make sure that those essays speak volumes about who you are, what you bring to the table, make them interesting. A lot of times, students kind of give, I don't want to use the term boring, but they don't give enough background information about who they are. Their statements are very cliche, personal statements, nearly empty activities in terms of entries and things that you're doing in that nature. So make sure that you are providing as much information on your essay as possible, and stay away from the generic why school supplemental essays. Again, talk about yourself and talk about uh, those resources and those topics that you know are going to grab the attention of the college and university. Uh, Also, stay away from repetitive content. I promise you, college and university is kind of over that whole thing of just repeating yourself over and over and over. So let's focus on something that's going to grab the attention. All right. Okay. Let's move right along to the next topic, which is recommendation letters. As you saw earlier on the screen, recommendation letters. Teachers who know you well, reach out to your teachers, reach out to your APs, guidance counselors, those that have a clear understanding of who you are, and ask them to deliver those recommendation letters. If you are volunteering, if you're working with a school administrator, use those resources. Don't just go to some random person and ask for a recommendation letter. Actually, use the folks that know you well and have an idea of who you are, because they'll write the best recommendation letter, right? So those are a little bit of tips on the application steps. Let's talk about test scores for a second. I'm going to leave this slide up to give everyone an opportunity to take a picture of it, take a screenshot, and so forth and so on. Universities require test scores. Some universities require a super score. They allow super scoring, not require, but they allow super scoring. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I don't mean to highlight Broward College, but I just want you to know that there are many state colleges, local colleges that do not require test scores. But for those that do, this is where I want you to really focus on at the bottom. And these are our Florida universities: UF, University of Miami, FSU, UCF. These are the average SAT scores. This is what they're looking for. The average is what they're looking for. So while you're in school, especially when you become a sophomore, junior, and you're beginning to prepare for these exams, take a record of your test preps, right? Everyone should be taking test preps. Everyone should be taking those exams to just prepare you for the next step. Mark down your score, see where the score is, and then the next time, of course, try to test and work higher at it. If you know that your math is an area of opportunity, I don't like to say a weakness, but I like to say an area of opportunity. If you know math is your area of opportunity, okay, great. So you know what you need to focus on. You know what you need to work more on. All right. So make sure to take a screenshot of this. I want everyone to get these test scores, average test scores, and we're going to continue to move right along. Before we move right along, let me talk about the super scoring and how that works, because I don't know if a lot of students quite understand super scoring or quite understand what super scoring entails. So it's basically super scoring is the process by which colleges consider your highest section scores across all the dates you've taken the SAT, right? Across all the dates. If you take it 3 times, they're going to consider the highest of those scores rather than confining your scores to one particular date. These schools will take your highest section scores, forming the highest possible composite score. So that's what super scoring is. And I want to make sure that everyone's clear on that. So if you need more information, please always contact your brace advisors, college specialists, college readiness career specialists. They can provide a little bit more information. Okay. We're going to move right along. I see some folks posting in the chat, and that's great. That's what we want to see today. It's all about you. It's all about the information that we can provide you with. So let's move right along to transcripts. Oh, yes, you have to submit your transcripts to these colleges and universities. One of the things that they're going to look for, obviously, is your GPA. The other thing is going to be classes and attendance. I think GPA is kind of self-explanatory, so I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on that. But classes, and you'll see it in a forthcoming slide where I talk a little bit more about the kind of classes that you can take. So I'm going to hold off on that. But attendance, guys, did you know that universities are looking at your attendance? Not all of them hold that as a major criteria, but you do have some, especially prestigious programs that are looking at your attendance. They want to know, okay, well, if you're not going to school in high school, there's a chance that you may not come to class in college. And we know what that results in. We want to avoid that. We want to avoid flunking out and things of that nature. And it doesn't look good from a university standpoint to have to do that to students, especially for an attendance issue. Academics is totally different. So make sure that you're showing up to class because believe me, there are colleges and universities that will look at attendance, and that is listed on your transcript. Extracurricular activities, and we're about half the way through this presentation, just to give you guys a heads up. So I'm going to ask the question: if 100 of you apply to Tron University, right, and you have a 4.0 GPA, and you have the highest SAT, you have 1,600 on your SATs, right? Everyone, all 100 of you. Well, then how am I going to select? If I had to select 10 students, what would I use to select those 10 students? What's going to separate you? What's going to make you different from the pack? Well, here it is: extracurriculars, community service. How many of you, and you don't have to put this in the chat, but just ask yourself, how many of you are involved in community service initiatives or endeavors? Bridge to Life is one of them. Shameless plug. Colleges and universities want to see that. They want to see the students that are going outside of their comfort zone, going outside of their high school and getting involved. While you're in the high school, what about student clubs? I can tell you now, universities. I remember once I was at a webinar, a seminar at a local school here in Broward College, Broward County, and it was a junior night, and there was a representative from Yale, right, prestigious university, and the admissions representative made a great comment, and she said, when it comes to separating the pack, we want to focus on students that are moving the needle in high school. Because we know if you're moving the needle and you're getting involved in student clubs and organizations, not just from a participant standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint, right? And as a leader, are you enhancing that club? So they want to look for students that are moving the needle, pushing the needle forward. Because if you're doing that in high school, chances are you're going to do that when at your post-secondary institution, whether it be university or college. So get involved in student clubs and organizations, serve in those leadership positions, work in those leadership positions, and enhance that club some kind of way. And make sure, students, that you are archiving everything you're doing. Put it on your resume, portfolio, whatever it may be. Sports, obviously, we know that sports will help you in terms of gaining notoriety and also in terms of gaining scholarships. So we know sports is going to help. And then last but not least, internships and jobs. So for those of you that are at technical high schools, or if you're a part of a technical program at your high school, great job. That's an easy way to find an apprenticeship, externship, or it leads to a job maybe possibly while you're in high school, or at least experience. Those are the things, these four corners, right? This quadrant here shows you what type of extracurriculars to participate in and what will separate you from the pack. Moving right along, I mentioned earlier some courses that you can take. Well, obviously, if you're a part of technical colleges, those college credits, those courses will serve, as college credits. AP courses, of course, advanced placement. Make sure that you're also taking honors courses. But then dual enrollment, and I want to stick right here for a second on dual enrollment. I hope many of you, if not all of you, are a part of dual enrollment in your respective counties. If not, please, pretty please, make sure that you are involved in dual enrollment. Why is dual enrollment so special? Let me just stop sharing my screen so I can look you right in the face and explain this to you. Dual enrollment courses are courses that are transferable, credits that are transferable to college, but more so than anything, it gives you a taste of what college has to offer, right? In certain cases, you can take dual enrollment courses at your school. In other cases, you come to, let's say if you're in Broward County, you would come to Broward College and take those courses. I believe also FIU offers dual enrollment courses, if I'm not mistaken. What are the dual enrollment initial eligibility requirements? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to be enrolled as a student in a Florida public or non-public secondary school or home education program. right? The next initial eligibility is a minimum of a 3.0 unweighted high school grade point average. 3.0, that's all you need. It has to be unweighted. The next point, college level test scores in all areas, right? So they're going to look at SAT, ACT, or the PERT exam, also known as your college placement exam. And they're going to consider English, reading, and math. So those are the initial eligibility requirements for dual enrollment. And again, I'm going to ask that everyone sign up for dual enrollment as soon as you can. There was a time, once upon a time, where you can earn enough credits in dual enrollment to earn an AA degree, an associate's degree. That's really not the case anymore. But the sooner you start, the more credits you'll earn. All right. And then, of course, international baccalaureate, which we'll get into a little bit later. I want to make sure that I'm mindful of the time. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from one of the best presenters when it comes to all things financial aid. If you're sharing if you have video turned on, or if you're taking a screenshot of this, just say to yourself, do you want free money? I want free money. This is how you're going to earn free money. It first starts with the FAFSA application. Okay, you have to complete the free application for federal student aid. That's what it starts with. Make sure that you do that. By the way, the FAFSA application opened on October 1st. Oh, that was a couple days ago. All right. So the students that want the money, they're jumping on it now. Here's why it's important to start early. You're going to hear more about this, so stay tuned. But here's why it's important to start early. When you begin filling out that form, you may run across some red flags. You may run across some alerts, and the government may say, "Hey, we need more information on X, Y, Z, whatever that is." You want to make sure that you have enough time between now, the time that you graduate, and the time that you move on to your destination. You want to make sure you have enough time to get all of those things figured out, fixed, and solved before you start school. Because what happens oftentimes, the students complete the FAFSA application. Great. Well, they start with their FSA ID. They complete the FAFSA application, and then they sign up for school, and all of a sudden, they get dropped from their courses, and they're like, "What happened? What happened?" And most of the time, it's because either they didn't accept the award, or they didn't fulfill one of the requirements that the government was asking for or looking for. So start now. Again, Brace advisors are here to assist you. You have all kinds of teachers and other support systems within your high school that will assist you. Please make sure you take a picture of this, a screenshot of this. I want you guys to know. We'll get into scholarships. I already told you you can find scholarships in Naviance. Work studies. Let me talk to you a second about work studies. When you come to college, you have an opportunity in most cases to apply for a work study position. What is a work study position? Somebody just asked me. I heard it. I could hear it. Work study is where you work at a college or a university, and you earn money, you earn a paycheck, but the government pays you. It's not paid from the college. The government pays you. In most cases, it's about $10 an hour. That fluctuates per state, but it's about $10 an hour. Here in Broward County, I can tell you, in the state of Florida, for the most part, it's $10 an hour. And you can work up to about 25 hours a week. All right. Listen, it's not going to pay your mortgage, but it's some additional money that helps you out while you're in school. Okay. What do work studies do? Anything. They may end up making phone calls. If you work for a recruitment team, I have 15 work studies that work in my department. They make phone calls. When we're face to face, they help package our recruitment material and collateral. I mean, they do all kinds of things that we just don't have the time to do. Okay, so that's another thing that I want you to focus on, work studies. And again, you'll hear more about that, as well as grants and as well as loans. Okay, all right. So just to kind of recap, we've talked about the admissions process. We've talked about the application process, the importance of starting now. I can't stress that. The importance of starting at this moment. If you have questions, you can contact me directly right here. If not, make sure to put those questions in the chat. We have folks that are fielding those chats. They're combing through it. We have hundreds of attendees here. I'm really excited to see all of you. But it starts now. For those of you who are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, it starts now for you as well. Take the time to start looking for colleges and universities that you want to attend. And you know what? I'll push that to the side. Answer this question. I want everyone to answer this question. Name one problem, or what's one problem in the world that you want to solve? What's one problem in the world you want to solve? I want you to think about that. The reason why I ask that question is because oftentimes most adults say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up, or where you want to go to school? Well, that's not really helping you in terms of identifying your passion. But if you think about a problem, right, homelessness, starvation, whatever the case may be, 9 times out of 10, whatever that problem is, whatever you identify, it's probably something that you have a passion about. It's probably something that you really want to see change. And perhaps that is your purpose in life. Now, once you've identified that purpose, then it makes the search for a college or a university that much easier, because now all you have to do are find programs and courses of study that align with your passion. So answer that question. For those of you that aren't quite sure what you want to study, answer the question, man, what do I want to see change in the world? What do I want to see change in life? Once you've answered that question, then it'll help you identify where you want to go to school. I hope this information has been helpful. I do apologize if I went kind of fast. I want to make sure that I stay within our timeline. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You'll see my face, and I'm going to pass the mic over to our next presenter, who is going to wow you with some more information, especially about, oh, make sure you're listening, scholarships, financial aid, grants, things of that nature. It has been quite a pleasure, and I will pass the mic over now to our next presenter.
We need to find Shedley and make her a presenter.
In the meantime, let me go back to dual enrollment. Another thing about dual enrollment, because we're having a technical difficulty. Don't worry, those kind of things happen. Y'all are used to this. Y'all are on Zoom all the time. In the meantime, dual enrollment, like I mentioned, is something that you can start now. You need to talk to your guidance counselor. I didn't mention that before. Make sure to talk to your guidance counselor. You need to complete what's called the dual enrollment recommendation form. Once you've completed that, you've taken your tests and you've met the test scores, bring that form to your parents, have them sign it, and bring it right back to your guidance counselor. Those are the steps.